Okay, American Mary, so I wouldn't have watched this film under normal circumstances, but somebody requested that I watch and do a review of it, so here I am. So, in American Mary, we revolve around Mary, a medical student, of course, and basically, towards the start of the film, she does a favour for this, like, gang leader or gang overlord kind of guy. So she does a favour for him, and which involves surgery, and she very quickly becomes famous in the body modification community, you know, that kind of crowd. So she basically, the movie goes off from there. She's kind of running this little business where she's patching up people the way they want to be patched up, you know. People in the body modification community. So she's basically doing favours for people, for cash, of course. And the movie goes off from there. I'll just leave it at that. So I don't have much to say. Like, overall, it was a good. I would go as far as to say it's a good movie. Like, it was alright. I liked it. It's forgettable, although like it's one of those movies which I won't really remember too much or too strongly, but it was a good movie. It's just like a forgettable movie, I'll just say that. Although, don't get me wrong, I still like this. So, it has a few torture scenes which are done really well. Like, you don't see the actual inflictions, like when the victim's getting cut up and, you know, that sort of stuff. You don't actually see it. They go for the more psychological angle. You know, what you don't see is more effective, what your mind can, you know, that whole thing. The whole psychological angle. So that's what they go for the torture scenes. It works well. I mean, if you've watched a handful of horror movies, it won't bother you or disturb you or anything. But regardless, you know, of course, you can still appreciate how the torture scenes are done. Like, it's shot really well. It's acted, directed very well, you know, the usual. And the second torture scene I quite liked as well. It's the one involving a character hanging from these meat hooks. I like that. That was done really well. Like, it was a great visual. And like I said, if you've seen a handful of horror movies, it won't bother you, although it was still a pretty cool scene. So the torture scenes are done really well. And if there's one thing you're going to take away from this movie when it's over, it will probably be the image of that guy hanging from the meat hooks. I mean, the special effects were pretty cool as well. Like, well, you know, like I said, there's not much here special effects wise, because most of the inflictions or mutilations happen off screen because they go for the more psychological angle. However, when we come to like the meat hook scene where you are like visually seeing the guy hanging from the meat hooks, the special effects, they're really, you know, they're great. Like, it all looks real and everything. So props to the special effects department, although there are like very few special effects in the film. Although for the special effects that were required for the film, they were done well. Okay, so the main character, Mary, I thought she was a bit of a bitch. She was a bit of a dick, although I guess that's kind of the point. Some people, I suppose, sympathise with her. I guess she is supposed to be a dick. Like, that's not to say the movie was bad or anything. Like, a movie doesn't have to have a likeable main character to be good. Like, I really hate it when people use that as an excuse. I couldn't relate, or I didn't like the character, that's why I hated the movie. I hate it when people say dislike a movie because of those reasons. Like, as long as the movie is interesting or the main character is still interesting, like, they don't have to be likeable. As long as they're interesting or entertaining to watch, what's the big deal, you know? So, I did find it pretty annoying, or, well, not annoying, but I just thought she was a bitch. Like, obviously her morals are really screwed up and she does some questionable things throughout the film. But I guess, well, that's the point. So, having said that, I still found her, like, entertaining or interesting to watch. And also, the girl who plays Mary, I can't remember her name, I think it was Elizabeth something. I think, I don't know, the word Elizabeth is coming to my head, but whoever played Mary did a good job. Apparently she played Gib in Freddy vs. Jason. Like, I clicked on the actress's name to see what other movies she did. Apparently she was in Freddy vs. Jason. She looks a lot different to what she did in that movie though. But yeah, she does a good job of playing Mary, so she's got, everyone in this film is pretty much a good actor from what I can remember. There's not really any shady spots of acting. Everyone does a fine job. There's one scene, in the second torture scene, there's a really infuriating moment which really hurt the film. Like, it's a really small moment, but I was kind of like sitting there wondering, whoever wrote the script, why did they put this part into the film? Like, it really, like, it's a really short moment which kind of lasts for only 5 seconds, although it was so stupid and so pointless. It, like, just really got me. Like, it really irritated me. That really got underneath my skin. It involves a cop being, like, stupid or just, yeah, just making a really, like, dumb decision. But that really pissed me off. Like, I was, like, shouting. I wasn't literally shouting at the TV, but I was kind of, like, really groaning in that scene. I mean, the cop was a completely useless and pointless character. Like, what's the point of just having him kind of walk in there? If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, but that cop, completely pointless, completely stupid. It was just infuriating to watch. Like, it's not as if it was suspenseful or anything, because you knew how this scene would play out. Like, as soon as it began, I was like, oh wow, we're really doing this. Like, the rest of the film is kind of fine and all. Like, none of the characters do anything stupid, I would say. And then you just have this really one offbeat scene where you have this really dumb cop do just... that scene, it was just really dumb. Like, it really hurt the film, because... I don't know, I just find it really irritating. Let's move on. This movie doesn't really have a third act. It kind of just ends. Like, I suppose you just go through the second act, I suppose, then all of a sudden the movie just ends. So I thought that was kind of strange, and because of that, the film kind of left me with an empty feeling, because, well, like I said, it's not really a third act. You just go through the second act and all of a sudden the movie kind of ends. Or I guess you could argue there is a third act, but the third act is like 5 seconds long. So I was kind of disappointed by that. The ending to me was unsatisfying. Like, I was okay with what happened in the ending, but it happened so suddenly and just so out of the blue. It kind of left me with an empty feeling where I was kind of like, that's it. I mean, it needed more of a build up to it, in my opinion, although it didn't piss me off or majorly like hurt the film or anything. Like, yeah, sure, I would have thought of the film, like, I would have rated the film a lot more highly if the ending was better and if they took out that really dumb like cop, but at the same time the ending didn't ruin it for me. Like, I was still okay with it, but I'm just saying the third act is kind of like comes out of nowhere, and well, like, it's not really a third act. It kind of just ends all of a sudden. So I thought that was kind of strange, and I was kind of left unsatisfied because of that. And that's really all I have to say. Not much to say. Like, the torture scenes are well done. It's a well acted film. That cop scene really pissed me off. The special effects are decent for what little things required special effects. And the third act, the ending was kind of weird because it happened so suddenly. That's really all I have to say, though. But yeah, there we go. That's American Mary. So, what did I think of it overall? It was good. I liked it. It's forgettable, although that's not necessarily a bad thing. It was still worth a watch. So, if you're ever sitting in your house one day and you're like, I don't really know what film to watch, I don't know, just go for American Mary, I suppose. It's like 90 minutes long, I think. So, if you want to kill 90 minutes long and you're not sure what movie to pick, go for American Mary. Don't expect a masterpiece, but it's a decent film. It's worth a watch. Okay, I'm leaving it at that. So, thanks for watching. See ya.